Hello, hello, hello. I am Christine Michelle, and we are going to talk about what happened when my um, launches and things that I was doing started to feel like they weren't working. And those of you who are watching, definitely get active in the comments. I want to see it, but we're going to use this for the podcast too. So yay! So, what happened when my launches and some of the things that I was doing in my business stopped working? And let me tell you, like, the truth behind, like, some of the things. I have a nearly $1 million cash business, and what I started to notice last year as I was shifting in my frequency, shifting in my vibration, sales seemed to slow. um, Clients started to transition, and that just happens in any kind of business. But the more I started to anchor in what I knew I was placed on this earth to do and what I was here to talk about, the more I started to see things start to shift, and ways that I would promote, ways that I would, show up, all of those things weren't resulting in the same things that they used to, the same money flow, the same number of clients joining, the same thing. And so, of course, what happens is you start to try to fix it, right? What's wrong? You go to strategy. You think it is your messaging. You think it's all of those things. And then you also hear all of those posts. Like, how many of you have seen the post where they're like, oh, the market has changed? They happen like twice or maybe 3 or 4 times a year. But the market has changed. No one's buying coaching anymore. No one's doing this, blah, 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 blah. And it's really usually that person speaking from their experience. But you see those, especially when you start to think, oh, what happened, right? Did I do something wrong? Like, what's going on? And so one of the things I decided to do was not to look at the post where people were like, the market has changed and da 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 da, right? I didn't go there. What I did was I started to look at the actual market. I started to look at people that were in my industry and people that were colleagues of mine that were actually having $100,000 days, $100,000 months, $200,000 months, $600,000 months, $1 million months. And I started to look and I said, well, if no one's buying, like somebody's buying from them. So what's the truth here? And what do all of these women have in common? Because it's not going to be about their business. Each one of them have very different business models, but their energetics, there's going to be something that's the same. And so what I started to do was really look at energetically, like, what is the same energetically? Like, what do these women have? What are they doing? How are they showing up in a way that I am not, or in a way that I can amplify? And so I joined a lot of their spaces, and it wasn't to copy, it wasn't even to learn from them, it was to observe. And I think that's one thing that's very important when you are joining other spaces, when you're joining, don't join so you can copy exactly what that person is doing, because that is not what you're here to do. You have been placed on this earth. You have a different message. You have a different frequency. There's a soul fractal that's looking for you and your like specialness. And if you water your specialness down by being like someone else or being like everyone else, then no one wants it, because it's going to feel like someone else. It's not going to feel authentic to you. So I joined these spaces and I started to watch. I started to see how each one of these women had a specific energy, and it was the energy that I had started to teach, and it was the divinity. They knew that they were divinity. Some very Christian, some witchy, some I don't know what they believe. It's not about religion or anything like that. It was about them knowing that the way they show up and the way they speak about their business, the way that they interact with their clients, the way whatever they create, they decided to do it their way, and know that nothing else outside of them could impact them at all. They effectively had disconnected from the matrix. And what the matrix does, it teaches you to look outside of you for results, for validation, for what's working, never to believe in yourself, to go to school and listen to someone else instead of listening to your heart, those type of things. That's what it's there for. And so what we did, right, or what each one of these women were doing, and what I started to do, was I started to really embody my sovereignty. And there's many, many ways to embody the sovereignty. I was just talking in another call about, like, I love to call sovereign somatics, because you'll even see when people are talking about trauma, they give so much power to the trauma. They give so much power to the situation and the circumstance or that happened that may have resulted in the trauma, that they forget that they can shift it themselves and not give the power to that situation, but they can flip how they're looking at the situation. And that's always what I've been telling my clients over these 10 to 15 years, is that you can reframe and you can shift. And it's that sovereignty that has always been the core of my business. And so and you guys might hear someone, I'm at my parents' house. My mom had a stroke. And so you may hear someone's cutting the grass. Okay. So anyway, the sovereignty is so important when it comes to how money works right now. The economy is becoming more of a circular, matriarchal economy and less of the triangle economy. And because the economy is shifting, and because it's shifting from more triangular effort, who you are, do you have all of the credentials, all of these things, to more of a, I feel you, I can feel that you have something there, I hear what you're saying, you're speaking to me and my heart, and I can relate to that, and I can hear you, and I know that you know what I'm looking for. I see something in you, and you have this identity, and I want to be a part of whatever you're sharing and whatever you're doing. That is so key to now how we sell and how you share and what you're sharing. How many of you are picking up what I'm putting down? Even if you're watching the replay, let me know. So even if your content is amazing and your messaging is clear and your inbox is now quiet, it has nothing to do with the messaging or the content, and everything to do with who are you being, and are you still selling and doing things like it's 2020? There was a huge shift energetically, especially with the millions and millions of people that were doing inner work. That's why the businesses took off. Like, everybody was doing personal development work because there was nothing else to do but sit in the house and go do Zoom calls in 2020, right? And so that played a role in a huge energetic shift, and how you show up has shifted from let me get into the pain points, let me tell them exactly what's going on, let me work really hard, let me push, into now it totally is about who you're being, the power you're holding, and the certainty you have about the result and about who this person becomes when they're working with you. And so if you see that you have the things that you were doing, because all of you watching this, you're very successful, you've had success, you've got clients, you've got people buying, but it just feels like it's not at the clip that you want it to be at. The reason has nothing to do with your messaging or your copy. And could it be some of that? It could be, but it's a really, really tiny percentage. It has more to do with the fact that you've outgrown the formula, you've outgrown the strategies, you've outgrown it, and you are here to architect a new economy. You are here to architect a new way of relating, a new way of exchanging, a new way of being. And so let's see. Natalie says, yes, this is exactly why I joined Divine Dollars, because I am so done with the strategy and I'm fully now ready to embrace the joy I have. I want to show up authentically, but not forcefully. Exactly, exactly. And Natalie mentioned it. There's two things. And Natalie, hopefully you got the invitation to new money, new money moves, because that's a prequel to Divine Dollars. And so, guys, Divine Dollars is a 2-week experience. There's 7 live calls. I don't know if you guys can hear me because the guy is cutting the grass, but there's 7 calls. And then there's also going to be some audios. Like, I am going all in on this 14 or 15 day experience, because I want you to be mind blown. And I also want to help shift your frequency, because we are in a matriarchal society, and the way you have been selling and the way you have been talking and the way you have been relating is not it anymore. And I know I talk about joy, right? Natalie brought up a big point, because she said, I'm ready to embrace the joy that I have. And I know a lot of you are listening. Natalie is huge in politics, and like her husband is just amazing with representing the community. And I know you probably are saying, how in the world am I supposed to be in joy? And I always tell this story. I say my parents, very big in the civil rights movement, great grandparents, they always told me, never let anyone steal your joy, because joy is not external. It is not based on what's happening outside. And so you may look at the craziness and the lies that are being told every single day, the craziness that's happening in LA at the time of this recording, and be like, how can I be in joy when there's so many people that are suffering? And what it is you have to remember is that your joy doesn't take away from someone else. And when I decided that I was going to put my joy above anything, like I was going to decide that I got to be in joy, decide that I got to move my body and just really tap into this new way of being, that I got to like embrace being the 92% and be like, I am not going to play into all of this craziness. My business started to really take off again, because I was no longer trying to play by matrixy rules. And so that's why I created New Money Moves. $33. It's happening on Friday as the prequel, because we're going to talk about the shift from the linear selling to circular wealth. And we're going to talk about the biggest frequency leaks, the frequency leaks that are blocking your income. Let's see. Natalie says, I am on my lifestyle content creator journey, and I know people would, of course. And what I love, especially with lifestyle content, that's what people are wanting. I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's frivolous, or how dare you talk about this, and why haven't you talked about this big thing and that big thing? And everyone wants to have a freaking opinion. But what if we knew everyone was on different journeys, and you get to, you know, if you talking about this topic is what you were meant to talk about, then that's why it's on your heart, and that's what you're supposed to do. If me doing talking about spirituality and AI, spiritual AI, and talking about joy and really bringing in the spiritual component and manifestation and all of that stuff is what I need to do, then that's what I need to do. And if you doing lifestyle content and bringing people along on that journey is what you were feeling called to do, and you are feeling that desire, that's what you're meant to do. And that is what New Money Moves and Divine Dollars is all about, because in order to be divine, you have to be in your divinity. And if you're doing something that for some other reason, like someone else wants me to do this, or someone else thinks I should do that, then you're not in your divinity at all. In fact, you are playing in the matrix, and you're playing in the rules and by the rules of other people. And so I'm really excited. We're going to talk about, like, in Divine Dollars, we're going to talk about wealth codes and the new circular wealth codes. Because doesn't it feel good to know that when you are creating something, doesn't it feel good to know that when you are creating something, it is not only just good for you, it is good for that person, it is good for the entire economy, it's good for the community, and that's where the circle is there. And so when we think about matriarchal wealth, when we think about a society that's built on that and not the pyramid, it's really about circular wealth. Everybody is benefiting. Everybody is benefiting. And so that's why you may see that, like, when I was creating things and I was doing things a little bit more, and I don't want to say hustle based, because I still work, I still move. It doesn't feel like work because I absolutely love it, but I still do work. I still move, but it's not from a hustle standpoint, and it's more from a, how do they benefit from this? Who is on the other side of this? What are they going to experience on the other side of this? And that is why, like I said, new money moves, which are going to be about the new moves that you get to make, so that money just floods into your life based on you doing what you absolutely love and not what everyone else wants you to do. And then that leads into the Divine Dollars, which starts next week, which I am super excited about, because the new economy, the new matriarchal economy, the new place where your body is the sales page, where your frequency and the frequency of certainty is what sells. This is what is going to make a total difference in your life. So welcome, Natalie. I'm so glad to have you. And if you have not joined, definitely join New Money Moves. New Money Moves. It's going to be so good. And I should connect. Hold on. I'm going to put the links in Facebook. Put the links here. And then I'm going to read Natalie's comment, because that is a good comment. Let's see. Here we go. I'm going to pin New Money Moves. It's $33, and you get a special, like, if once you join, you can use that as a credit towards Divine Dollars. So let's see. Natalie says, I had a convo with my husband weeks ago where we asked each other our dreams with money, so much that I can just write checks to people doing such hard work. Yes, that's something that really inspired me. And it doesn't have to be hard or direct in what I want to affect, but we are what we are led to. Yes. This is coming in such great time. This is exactly the reason why I was just talking, and I had a conversation about why we, in one of my masterminds, the lady was talking about, like, the soul. She was talking about AI, and she was talking about how she's grown, she's more likely to use AI than she was before. And we started to talk about what things, like she says, we're hearing about things ruining the environment and hearing about this. And I said, when we remember that we create our own society, like we create our reality. And when we remember we are the director, the writer, we're the producer, we're all of it, right? So when we remember that, then if I hear something negative, so for example, what's happening in LA, I get to say, you know what? If I had the money to write a check and to be like, okay, these people, I want to be like, write a check and be able to represent them in court, right? So like, if they can't find legal assistance, then I want to be able to do that. Or like Mackenzie Scott, when she is no longer with Jeff Bezos, but she is using her billions to be like, okay, Planned Parenthood, this one closed, I'm going to write the check so that Planned Parenthood over here can open. Like, it's those type of things. And that's why New Money Moves. It's so important for you to be living a life that you're giving, and it's circular, right? The wealth is circular. And so you benefit, this person benefits, this person benefits. Yes, it's like angel investors. And so it would never be selfish of you to have billions of dollars, because we know that billions of dollars in your hands and billions of dollars in the hands of women like you is going to only benefit the world, right? I know they estimated that world hunger, like solving world hunger, is like 12 billion to 300 billion. Maybe that's how much it costs. And so I was thinking, I was like, well, before Fleon like lost all of his money, because all of his money is just on paper. I mean, it's just on paper anyway. It's not even real. But anyway, I think they said he was worth, like, I'm just going to make this up, like 400 million. And then if I knew it took 300 million of my 300 billion of my $400 billion to solve world hunger, like solve it for good, I totally would write the $300 billion check, because I still got 100 billion. And how many people need 100 billion? Like, what I could, it'll take me a lifetime to go through $100 billion, right? And then that $100 billion, because I solved world hunger, is only going to make me more money, right? And this is the way spiritual entrepreneurs think. This is the way women think. And this is why the matriarchal economy that we are establishing, that we get to place in, is one that's going to always just give. One of the gifts that when you're a part of Pleasure and Paid Month is Juiced Up June. And so one of my colleagues and friends, she always talks about regenerative wealth. That is what regenerative wealth is. It's being an angel investor. It's being able to give money without even thinking about it to the different organizations and the different people that you would love to give. It's really about, like, being with your neighbors and being with your community and, like, helping your whole community. But that doesn't exclude you buying something cute or going to get, that doesn't exclude that, but it makes it's a part of it. And so this is what being a part of a circular economy is about. And when I noticed that the way I was marketing, the way I was sharing stuff, all of that stuff just wasn't working, instead of thinking that I needed to just fix my content or I needed to get a new messaging, situation together, I realized that it wasn't any of that. It was really about the fact that I had advanced my frequency so far that the old ways of doing things would no longer work. It just didn't work. Even the old ways of way I was manifesting. In July, I think I'm going to make it manifesting month, and we're going to do like quantum manifesting, because it's changed. It's changed so much. And so the ways when I used to pill things out of the air, like be able to manifest like that, all that stuff shifted because my frequency has shifted, and I was moving more, my energy and everything was more in a 5D reality, which means that the way that I was marketing like it was 2020 was no longer working. And so the way I was manifesting money or allowing money to come into my life was no longer working, because the passion, and it wasn't a part of that circular economy. It wasn't a part of how money gets to flow to someone at the frequency level that I was at. And so these are the things and the conversations that we are going to have when in New Money Moves. Those of you who are watching, let's see, I see some people in Instagram. Let me see if I can paste. I'll try to paste the link, but if you can't, there you go, New Money Moves. It's $33. It's happening on Friday. We're going to have these type of conversations, and it's going to be so good. And then, of course, Divine Dollars. If you're like, oh my God, this conversation is so juicy. It is just an advanced way of receiving money, where like the old money manifesting and old money programs are just not it anymore when you remember your divinity, right? There's no like putting it on a vision board or journaling about it. We're past that. You're past that. And so what happens when your energy and your frequency is past that? What do? We're going to talk about it in New Money Moves, and we're going to talk about it really detailed in Divine Dollars. Oh, this is so good. So good. Let's see. Natalie says, I know I missed you. I'm definitely joining. I am so happy to have you, Natalie, in New Money Moves and in Divine Dollars. It's going to be so good. Really think about how you want money to work with you and for you. And think about like what a circular economy means for you. I keep calling it the matriarchal economy, and a circular economy. But just think about it. Circular. Circulate. What has started to happen? Like, circulate was always the way money was supposed to work in the first place. But then what we started to do was money would go all the way up to the top and stay there, and none of it would feed down in that triangle. We're moving to the circle, and that's why you have more and more people pushing back on oligarchy and those type of things, because it just does not work anymore. Okay? So, on that note, this was so beautiful. I am going to get ready to take my mom to her appointment. But if you have any questions about New Money Moves, if you have any questions about Divine Dollars, message me. New Money Moves is $33. Divine Dollars is $397. And there's a payment plan of $222, 2 payments of $222. And I'm just so excited about everything that we get to do. I will see Natalie. I'll see you on Friday, and all of you. And hugs, kisses, all the people. Bye.